Hello, welcome to the Augmentation of Man with Kent and Renee Miller, where we are giving the future. And we want to start out real quick because we've got some exciting news. It's going to be a short video. We just kind of want to give you some, just a little teaser of what might be coming. And we'll get to that in a minute. But we want to do just an update on my sister Judy. She ended up having to have open heart surgery. She had a pump put in to get her through until when she can have a heart transplant. We want to thank everybody from the bottom of our hearts for all your prayers and your donations. It really has helped tremendously, as what we didn't realize was disability does not kick in for 5 months. So she's actually still waiting for that to kick in. And just don't understand, what people do who are in that situation, who don't have help. But thank you, thank you, thank you. And today we're going to be talking about some changes, some major change coming. And I want to share the screen. So we like to do these PowerPoints where we can show exactly how the message came through and then elaborate on it a little bit. And that way you can see it visually.
Thank goodness changes are about to happen.
Yes, I think everybody is looking forward to some change, although
Definitely.
It's not. I think
it's going to be a rough change.
It's still going to be
rough.
But
it's going to be a change.
Yeah. And so let's share the screen. So things are about to change, and the beginning of the end is also a beginning. So these messages came through just in the past week
in
or
the
so.
Last couple of weeks.
Yeah, maybe even less. I've got the dates on there, and that way you can see our communication is still really spotty right now. So for people who channel, you might also be in that same predicament where you're wondering why the channelings are not coming through, why the spiritual communication hasn't been there. Well, they've been really busy, and there's been a lot of atmospheric changes going on that can interfere with communication.
Around the world, there has been atmospheric changes, and you can see by the weather changes around the world, not just here in the United States, but it is happening everywhere in this planet.
Yes, and that momentum has, we've been told, will continue. Pattern has been set, and there is no changing it. It is going to continue forward in its current pattern. So we have for beginning July 6th, Kent heard one word.
The word was soon.
So we were kind of left hanging.
What do you mean by soon? What do you mean?
Yeah, and you actually got that again.
Yeah.
But then and we tried to get more clarification, but just couldn't get the communication wasn't there.
I would begin to get communication, and then it would just go dark. And it was like walking into an empty hall. There was nothing there. And I kept getting that. And it becomes very frustrating.
It does, especially when you're wanting answers. But the ancients are the ones who are making the vibrational changes for Earth, and they have been super busy. Those are our main guides, are the ancients. They're not ancient human beings. They are ancient entities from the beginning of creation. And their job is very vast, but one of the tasks that they have is to serve as mentors and teachers.
Yeah, trying to babysit the human race has got to be overwhelming job.
Yeah. And so then on July 9th, it was like another real brief pop in, pop out.
Yeah,
And what they tell
the
you.
beginning of the end. It's all coming to pass.
So these,
And I said, tell me more. Couldn't get any more.
yeah, but this one is a simple one.
Yeah,
The beginning of the end is talking about the end of a cycle. This is the beginning of the end of the cycle. And it's kind of like the snake that eats his tail. It starts a new cycle. So the beginning is also, I'm sorry, the end is
and
also
the beginning.
a beginning.
And the beginning is also could be the end. I mean,
Yes,
it's a
because
double sword.
the
Yeah.
beginning is the end of the old way. And so what we're going to be seeing is this collapse of the old way. So
And it's
while
gonna-
we say it's exciting, it's also a collapse of all these old systems that no longer serve us.
Well, I don't think the old systems really did serve us as much as we thought, and we're finding out.
Yeah, but we're moving to a higher realm. So a higher vibration means it's going to be a higher level of learning, because as we learn and we truly grok
Well-
it, we have a vibrational attunement to that new understanding, and then we shift upward.
Yeah, we have, as a human race, we gotta quit voting people in that look good, that speak well. We gotta start voting in people that know how to run a business,
Or
not
a
a
country,
corporation,
a country.
a business, and that gives you the ability to run a country. So you've got to quit voting on looks. You got to start divulging or delving into what this person that you vote for, what they're really like, and where they come from.
And their past voting records.
Yes.
Right. So that's enough of
We
that.
we have something to do with our own leaders.
We
think.
vote,
So we have to, if we want to help this change along,
Mhm.
it's not going to be by itself. We have to do our part as humans
yes.
to move this chain, because this chain will only go so far, this change. And if we don't do our part, you're going to see the old paradigm of putting us in a box is going to continue.
Yeah, so part of that change and that new level of understanding is going to be based on, we have to do our own research. We can't rely on other people to tell us what the truth is. We're going to have to, when we go to vote, because when we vote for somebody in, we are actually selecting our own lessons. And so,
Unfortunately, lessons have not been very good.
but we have to do our homework in finding out what that person is really about and what their past voting history is, if they have one. So moving on July 14th, you had heard time for movement of self. And we've talked about this before in previous videos. You might want to find that, or better yet, we'll attach it. We'll attach it below this video.
You've got to listen to the self.
Mhm.
It's a lot smarter than we are.
So the higher self, just to recap on it, is a part of the soul that directs our learning progress. And so the higher self is what determines lifetimes in advance, and each lifetime, the specific learning goals that we have set for ourselves. So,
And who talks to the self? The creator talks to the higher self.
it is,
And we have to start listening to the higher self, because it's guidance from the creator.
but it's not directly from the creator. It's
No,
from the
it's through
creator
to the higher self,
through
which we can,
spiritual
right,
guides.
which we can attach to, or we can listen to.
Yeah, so the way that that works is that the creator puts out there what what the creator has determined as the path forward. And then the entities below take that information and then they work in their own realms to make sure that that comes to pass, to set that path forward. And when it gets down to spiritual guidance, those guides are telling us teachings. They're teaching us through our meditative state that aligns to the pathway that the creator has set.
Yeah, and don't listen to others tell you which way you should go. If you can, introduce yourself to your higher self.
And that's
So
going to
you
be
can
through
be,
meditation.
so you can help the change come to pass,
Yes.
the good change.
And a lot of people have told us, well, I've got this monkey mind and I've got all these thoughts.
I'm too busy at
and
work and I don't get home late
And so we have to make the time to quiet our minds. And it does take a long time. For some people, it can take years to get to that level of meditation where you can quiet.
Some people can get right away.
Some people, yes, like you got it right away. But for other people like myself, you know, I finally gotten to a point where I can clear the mind and listen. And you're listening for that inner communication.
Mhm.
Sounds like your own thoughts, but it kind of comes through a lot stronger. And that's what you're looking for.
Yeah. So,
And thoughts that you wouldn't have thought of yourself that are in the line of teaching.
yeah. So going on.
So
July
time
17th.
for the movement of self. And what they're telling us is it's time to listen from the guidance of all that is. Now, all that is all of those beings, those teaching beings out there that work, that come in, that give us thoughts to try and push along and expand universal consciousness.
Okay, July 17th. What did we get?
The sequence, that was this morning.
Yes.
The sequence is about to begin.
And we're saying, what sequence? That was the question, first question.
And they did say consternation is at hand, given obedience to the self. So consternation is shock and disbelief is at hand, given obedience to the self, meaning the higher self. So we're asking, what does this mean? We ask the guides, who will be affected first of all? And they said,
all of humanity.
All of humanity, and a precursor to events unfolding. So this is going to happen before other events that are coming. And then I asked, what changes will we notice? I think that's the most important thing that people have on their minds. Maybe not the most important thing, but it's the primary thing that people have on their minds is, how's this going to affect me? What can we expect? And they were vague as usual about that. But the answer was postulation.
Which means self-evident.
It'll be self-evident. So I think when we discussed this, we thought people will have varying experiences, but that they will know. When it happens, they will know.
Well, they know. Boy, they will know, I should say.
And then the guidance continued with a coordinates of movements upon the earth. So what they're talking about is that they are coordinating a sequence of events, different movements that are all going to come together to reshape this world and reshape humanity for this next era, this next cycle that is getting so close to beginning.
And then they said, astuteness prevails.
And astuteness is the ability to learn, to be smart, quick, and perceptive. And so we've talked about this before in previous videos where all these changes are taking place underneath our noses and we don't recognize it. We don't have the ability to perceive it. But once everything is lined up, it'll be like a light switch being turned on, and all of a sudden our paradigm changes. And that's what we believe we're looking at right now. The other thing is that they have told us that all relevant DNA is going to be turned on, and that is particularly tied to preserving the earth, because humans have been pushed forward quickly. They have the technology, but they don't have the wisdom to go with it, because the wisdom has not kept up at the same rate as technology has. So then you have leaders who have nuclear weapons and things like that.
Leaders today live to make more money. The world leaders, it's all about money. It's not about humanity. It's not about you and me or your neighbor. It's about how much money can I make if I do this, which is totally wrong. Now,
So
there's nothing wrong with money, but to put it first and far beyond the human race is wrong.
And so what I think in essence, these messages of late are all about is that we are looking at the higher self taking control, and this is going to affect all of humanity. And so there's more to it than that, because it also involves the atmospheric changes and its impact on our soul as we are streaming live here to the earth plane. And so when those atmospheric changes occur, it also triggers changes within us. And then the higher self starts to take control, and it redirects our focus and our attention to our true path, which is the learning and why we are here. And so I think for a lot of people, we will start to really focus and hone in on our curiosity, satisfying that curiosity and learning. And it'll be like becoming the child, and why this, why that. We are the child, but why? And having that hunger and that need to be satisfied for all the questions that we will have.
Okay, yeah, that's right.
And with that, these atmospheric changes also create a consultation of DNA within our cells, and there will be placement of protein markers on DNA where didn't exist before, turning that DNA on so that we will be smarter in that we will be able to move into conceptual learning, where these beings will come forth and start teaching us, and we'll have the capacity to understand at that time.
Come on, beings.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's good news. And we need to celebrate the good news, right?
As soon as it begins to happen.
So I would encourage you all to start looking for those subtle changes that will become very obvious, right?
When you see something, or you hear a change, or you see a change, subtle change, share it with others so they can enjoy and see the changes also. Really, now, we as humans can move these changes forward. Remember that. You have the ability to help create these changes.
So just a reminder for those who may be new to our channel, we have 2 books out that are the messages that have been dictated to us, and it's the Augmentation of Man series. And this one is a study in Renaissance. It's more about spirituality and terminology.
The question is, When is the third book going to come out?
Yes, that is a
We have
question.
enough information.
And the acquiescence of humanity, and that goes into our origins and where we're going. They both discuss the changes that are coming. And in these two books, the second edition of A Study in Renaissance and The Acquiescence of Humanity, we have expanded on the glossary and we have expanded on our interpretation so that people can read the original dictation and see how it comes through verbatim, and then see how we translate it. And you can make your mind up for yourself if you agree with our translation or if you have a different translation.
Now, when you decide you want to help with these changes, don't get frustrated, don't drop out. Bring others in that thinks similar to what you do. It's not time to drop out of humanity or to give up on everything. It is time to act.
And like we said, you know, it's still going to be tough times ahead of us, but we're going to have an advantage at this point once this kicks in and the higher self starts to take control. Because remember, the soul is like a flash drive. It has the memories of all past learning, and the higher self can communicate those memories of understanding and wisdom to our physical self. So once the higher self takes control, it can become the teacher, and you can start hearing dictation in your own mind. And that is going to help assist you in understanding things that you knew on a soul level that you know, through our birthing process here, that memory is not available up until now.
So here's to humanity. Stand for what you truly believe in. Thanks for joining us today.
Yes, thank you. And leave us your comments, give us a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed, do subscribe. Thank you. And have a great day. Take care. Bye-bye.